This is the Forbidden Zone? Honestly, for a place so well hidden, Paimon sure doesn't see anything special.
Eso de ahí es...
What a huge door!
There are 3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go inside. Hence the name Forbidden Zone. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon wasn't thinking of keeping anything from them.
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole truth of this place for yourself before deciding whether or not to tell them.
Ok. A ver. ¿Qué hay? Yusra, hello da.
So there's a switch on the side.
Stand back.
¿Y por qué nomás no los dice? Haz que es posible de que cuando se los diga no me van a creer. Vale.
They all just went up one by one.
¿Qué hay en el centro?
Go on, have a look.
No me vas a empujar, ¿o sí? Qué grande esta sala, pero es raro que esté tan vacía. Además, en el centro hay un mecanismo que parece una esclusa gigante.
I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Merópide.
Ah, creo que aparte ya te había saludado, ¿verdad? Yo sola, perdón. Se me va el avión. Soy como Dory. Se borra el cassette.
The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position, likely because some parameter it's been tracking has changed, if only infinitesimally. Normally I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be tracking?
La presión del agua.
Very reasonable guesses. I've considered both of those as well.
No, bueno, Erminstar.
Fortunately, our dashboard is tracking something less ordinary.
Bueno, aquí esto se va a quedar en YouTube, ¿eh? O sea... Diablos.
The temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few tests to increase the pressure from the outside, but the readings didn't change at all.
Deberíamos hacer el clima, así que teóricamente debemos hacer la presión del agua.
Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the primordial sea. Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that, and the symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress, I can now confidently conclude that the readings represent the concentration of primordial seawater in the seawater nearby.
Papo, la mejor inversión. A cada punto gastado.
The concentration of primordial seawater? But we're already under the sea!
And that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Somehow, primordial seawater got mixed in, and the concentration is steadily rising.
El mar primigenio se está mezclando con el del mar.
That's very likely.
But forget about the two of us. Not even Novelette knows where the primordial sea could be, much less where we could find and plug a leak. Oh.
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. For some reason, the primordial seawater levels have risen significantly, and it's now very close to us. The indicators
Sale de
are
ahí.
now red.
En Fontaine, adiós. O al menos la gente que nació en Fontaine desaparece. Se diluye, se disuelve. Ya no es humano, es agüita. Esto ya lo hemos visto.
Soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all.
Pues el agua del mar primigenio se está filtrando.
Yeah, you know what the legends
Fontaine
say.
desaparece del mapa.
If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into puddles in the span of a night.
But that's just too weird! Why would the Fortress of Merópide be built right above a sluice gate for the primordial sea? Who built this place anyway?
Ok. que no usas a la mona china cuando juegas Genshin? ¿Cómo que la mona china? ¿Cuál mona china?
Your
¿Cuál?
expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated
Hay media mona
conspiracy.
china aquí.
To be honest, you might find the actual answer may be exceedingly boring. It's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I rediscovered it with my research. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Merópide in any traditional sense. What we know about its history has been left to us by the people who used to live here. When the previous Hydro Archon, Egeria, ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove the criminals away like a wolf pack chasing away the banished. The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people. They were exiled to the
Pero
desolate
entonces esto
seaside,
fue
where they experienced only pain,
después de que
struggle,
Furina
and the
tomó
bone-chilling
poder, o sea,
cold.
de que Egeria se murió, pues, porque Egeria nada más exiliaba. Es como, tú no estás cumpliendo con estas leyes, te me largas de mi terreno. Mientras tanto, Furina es como, tú no estás cumpliendo con las leyes, a la cárcel. No sé cómo debe ser, pero bueno.
Some of them began to repent.
Pues sí, la que
They
debería de
prayed
saber
to the
entonces
Hydro
Furina.
Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity.
Ah, no, entonces sí lo hizo.
You may go guard my secret, deep underneath the waves.
Protejan mi secreto en el fondo marino.
And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps. And over
Ah,
the
ok,
years,
entonces fue
helped
desde
it to grow.
Egeria, ok. Ese carcelero no lo quiere eliminar. No, pues sí, pues quién no.
As the number of exiles increased, more and more
La verdad que
people
sí,
joined
o
the
sea,
community. When the
juzgando
first group of exiles died, they left the yet unfinished
en
fortress to their
primer
successors.
lugar de Fontaine. Cada región tiene su juzgando y tiene su waifu.
The Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and what it stood for to continue growing ever larger. Before long, this dark underwater
No lo pude
fortress
conseguir, me salió
became
una
the
Jean.
sinner's only home.
Por tercera vez.
And with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners who would regain their freedom once they had
Sacarse que lo vi con
sufficiently
el juez
redeemed
y me dan ganas
themselves.
de romper la ley, ¿no? Bueno, tremendo, yo será.
But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer feel comfortable living in the overworld. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls fade away with the ancient secrets of the past. After many, many centuries, few people still remember the reason for the fortress's founding. Now they just see it as an integral pillar of Fontainian society, as the place where criminals deserve to be sent. Now and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian. Everyone else just thought he'd made it all up.
Huh.
But now you know every part of that history is true.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. If this gate fails, then everyone will be dissolved into the sea.
Entonces crees en la profecía. Técnicamente es como, entonces sí es real.
To be frank,
Un
not
tío
really.
debe dormir, éxito en tu stream. Gracias, Irvinsar. Ya de todos modos en un ratito también vamos a parar porque también me tengo que levantar temprano mañana para tener vida godín. Bueno, para bueno, seguir con mi vida godín. So, yeah. Descansa, Irvinsar.
Prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing signs of it will bring about the second, and actually witnessing it in real time, the third.
¿Qué piensas hacer como jefe de este sitio?
Let's go somewhere else. I want to show you something.
¿Algo más? ¿Qué otra cosa más? Nos vemos, cuídate. Cuídate también, tu Irvinsar. Gracias por pasarte.
Your Grace, perfect timing.
Y gracias por la
The
rey
results
también.
from our last round of experiments have...
Wait, Jurier, he's not alone. Huh? Lorvine and Jurier?
Y por eso estaban ellos siempre viéndose en la
No
enfermería.
need to panic, you two. I've already told them about our plan.
What? After you warned us not to tell a single soul about any of this?
I'm skeptical as well. Are you sure they are trustworthy?
The results speak for themselves, don't they? These two may already know more than you could ever imagine.
All right then, if Your Grace insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them for now.
How about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work under Edwin. I trust that you've heard of Edwin?
Ni idea de quién es. Bueno, voy a poner que claro.
Saves me a bit of time explaining. Edwin's main areas of research were
De todos modos lo explico.
As his assistant, Jurier is quite familiar with them as well. I hired him to be my technical consultant.
You want to blow up the fortress of Merópide?
Ah, what a lovely idea. I'm already imagining it in my head.
Gotta admit, I'm tempted as well.
Guys, focus! Focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of my technical consultants. While Jurier used to be Edwin's assistant, she used to be Jurier's assistant.
Ooh, are they together?
¿Qué necesidad había?
See, everyone keeps asking this question. Are you too sure you're not a couple and just using your work as a convenient cover?
Ooh.
Your Grace, I am not in a relationship with this man.
If I dated her, I'd officially be madder than Edwin.
Nah, se van a terminar siendo enamorados.
Jeez, forget I said anything then. Follow me.
Whoa, there's another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes it seem like the fortress can do anything.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
¿Una sala normal y corriente? No.
Well, let's spice it up a bit. And here you go.
Ah. Oh, wait, what? ¿Hay otro tipo de fuerte dentro del fuerte? ¿Fuerteception?
What a huge ship! This is also a production zone that Paimon's never
Ah,
seen
no,
before.
ok, yo creí que todavía estábamos viendo el mar.
How much do you know about Fontanian history?
Not much at all.
Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of ancient Lemuria. To give you a quick
Remuria.
rundown, Fontaine used to be ruled by the Lemurian dynasty.
Dinastía Remuria.
According to legend, the Lemurian king Remus came to this land after being inspired by a divine revelation and found the seer Sibila, who had taken on the form of a golden bee. Taking the golden bee with him and riding on a huge ship, the Fortuna, he created his nation above the surging waves.
Y de ahí Fontaine, ¿te
He
refieres?
called his nation Lemuria
Ah.
and used the Fortuna to incessantly search for new tribes and islands, calling on them to join his empire.
There's a ship in this story too?
Where there's water, there'll be ships. People believe that hope can always be found at the end of a voyage.
Do you believe that too?
To a point, I think. As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. Certainly can't hurt to give it a try.
Sí, pero ¿quién lo está manteniendo?
So the moment I began to speculate that the primordial sea might lie underneath the gate, I also began this project.
Were you inspired by the legendary Fortuna?
No habías tendencia en Twitter. Pues sí, pues que ha de estar maravilloso.
Maybe. Fontanians need something to hold on to cope with the impending disaster.
¿Por qué lo estás planeando a escondidas?
Were the workers to find out the truth behind this ship, riots would destroy the fortress faster than any catastrophe.
Claro.
As the fortress's administrator, I'd never make such a reckless call. All right, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea to soothe my throat.
Este se la pasa tomando té. Bueno, está igual que yo.
Seems
¿Por
like
qué
you're
no lo
good.
pude conseguir, en
Come on,
serio?
I'll take you back.
Se supone que lo tenía asegurado y me sale la mendiga Jean.
I'll leave you here
Así
for now.
de famosa salió la doña.
Oh,
Es que es una jefa gangsta.
thank you.
Son raras
so
las
much.
jefas gangsta.
No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to
Ya
share
te
what
presto
you
mi cuenta
just
para que
saw.
juegues con él. No,
What
no,
you
estoy
do
bien,
from here
estoy
on
bien.
out will likely affect
Estoy bien.
those 3 as
Me
well.
aguantaré. Mira, si aguanté 2 años para tener a Shao, que no aguante 2 años para que yo te Tesla. Ve que el hecho de que cuente o no este secreto decidirá el siguiente paso de Lainey. Decir que si le cuento la verdad, tendré que asegurarme de que entienda que ahora mismo no nos podemos permitir un conflicto.
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it for sure.
Great.
Yes.
I look forward to what happens next.
Una vez una Barbie Girl. Hijo. Bueno. Ay, ay, ay. ¿Y ahora qué? Vuelve a la enfermería a contarle el chisme o no contarle el chisme. Esa es nuestra decisión. Decirlo o no decirlo, esa es la cuestión. ¿Qué hacemos? ¿Nos van a dar la decisión?
We're back!
Welcome back. Do you want a cup of tea?
Le van a aplicar una eula, o sea que va a estar en el... ¿En el permanente?
How can you be so much like Risley, always drinking tea?
Huh. Actually, now that you mention it, while I was
Ay, upsi.
sedated, I could still barely hear two people talking next to me. They were discussing everything, from the leaves to the water and
Lo de su
even
rerrón, ¿qué pasó con su
teacups
rerrón?
themselves.
¿De que nada más salió una vez y ya está? ¿O cómo es eso?
Must have been Risley and Seishween.
Yeah, I heard one male voice and one female, so it should have been the two of them. They really were just talking about brewing tea.
I really can't make sense of this place.
So, Traveler, Paimon, were you able to learn anything from Risley?
Yeah, he explained everything.
Very well. Then, would you mind checking your answers against my speculations?
Es mucho mejor aspecto.
Yeah, I took the time to rest, so
Que
I'm
se anda
feeling a
diciendo que
lot more
Tetesi tendrá un
relaxed.
rerrón en 2 años porque su banda no vendió lo que pues, se esperaba. Es que muchos más bien estaban... Es que lo que pasó, lo que yo entiendo que pasó, es que medio mundo trató más bien de conseguir al juez. Y pues ya después de eso, estaban pensando si o me concentro en Furina o me concentro en Wetesli, y pues le dieron a Furina más que a Wetesli. Era más o menos eso. Es que metieron a muchos personajes bastante importantes uno seguido del otro y usualmente no hacen eso. Usualmente es como el personaje más esperado y luego uno de descanso, ¿sabes? Un rerun. Y luego otro personaje muy esperado y luego otro rerun. Y este lo sacaron uno seguido de otro.
Nobody else is around, and Miss Seishween is also busy with something or other. So let's just talk here.
Y es un poco raro sabiendo de que tanto Eula como Wetesli sé que son uno de los personajes que más últimamente son los que medio mundo quería, se supone. Eula, por ejemplo, medio mundo quiere a Eula. Entonces me saca mucho de onda que ya no la saquen.
Posit my theories. I asked myself 3 questions. Firstly, why was Fremine affected by the primordial seawater? It was because he dove into the sea. My theory is, the long-lost primordial sea is probably very close to the fortress of Merópide.
Ooh, he's good. He got that right on the
Medio mundo
first
quiere a
try.
Eula, pero luego ni tiran por ella, ya ves.
That's our Lenny.
Es que es planear,
Secondly,
¿you know?
Risley's attitude changed dramatically during the course of our stay here. He ignored us completely at first, then suddenly roadblocked us. Why? I spent quite a long time thinking about this. If he has been monitoring the Fatui since the very beginning, he probably ignored us at first because he was hoping we could find Master Child for him.
Vaya que tienes una gran habilidad
What's
de...
more, the fortress of
pensamiento
Merópide is
crítico, Lenny.
not part of Fontaine's court system, nor does it report to Udex Nervulet. Risley is basically the king of a no-man's land. As long as the fortress doesn't do anything about Master Child's disappearance, Father can use it to pressure the Fontaine authorities. And while the two factions are pitted against each other, Risley will be free to move between the parties of interest. If I had to guess, he probably has something that he's working on himself. It's likely related to the secret of the infirmary, but I just can't think of what it could be.
Deducciones son fantásticas.
You're super smart.
Thanks so much. Then finally, there's the last question. If Risley does have a plan, what could it be? All I know for now is that his plan probably has something to do with the changing nature of the seawater. He's even gotten Cloran to help him out. That can't be the full extent of what he's doing. There's probably a secret passageway behind the block in the infirmary, and there's something big in the fortress that most people here never get to see. He has a bargaining chip, and it could be important enough for Father to deal with him directly. I don't have enough information, so I have no idea what his chip might be. But let me guess. You have the last piece of the puzzle.
Tras cavilarlo, le cuentas el año y le contó todo. Así le contó todo. Ok, también hace hincapié en la catástrofe que se avecina y que no es momento para enfrentamientos.
I can't believe it.
The sea will engulf everyone. Just like the prophecy said.
Could Wriothesley have wanted to meet Father to figure out a way to deal with this crisis? If you remember, I once mentioned that Father sees the House of the Hearth as her base of operations, and she truly wants to resolve the crisis. But how could Wriothesley have known that?
Or perhaps he didn't know and just wanted to bring Father over to his side, which could be why he said he just wanted to negotiate.
Sigo sin comprender, en serio, me saca de bastante como que onda de que se refieran a ella como padre. Y luego en español, madre.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Algo de tener
I understand
sentido
your
para que se
concerns
refieran de
as
esa
well,
manera.
Traveler. I'll figure out a way to pass this on to our father. No matter what, we're on your side. The two of you have already aided us far too much. We probably wouldn't be standing here right now if not for you. If you ever need anything else going forward, please come to the House of the Hearth at any time. Though you may not share the sentiment, after all that we've gone through together, the three of us basically see you as family now.
Arreglando.
You have my gratitude.
Arlequino puede ser lo que quiere, reina envidiosa.
Thank you for protecting Lenny when it really mattered. And thank you for sharing the secrets of the fortress with us. We didn't think you were going to do it.
Why are you being so formal all of a sudden?
Podemos volver a trabajar juntos si alguna vez lo
Given your
necesitamos.
strength, you might not need our help at all. But if you are ever in danger, we will try our best to protect you.
Thank yous.
Aw, the sound of that makes Paimon feel all warm and safe inside.
¿Y ese sonido?
Paimon's hungry.
Como siempre.
Oh, you've done so much already. Go get some food.
Sáquenme de aquí.
Alright, then we'll catch you guys another time.
¿Dónde diablos estás, Nobile? No puedo salir de aquí hasta que te encontremos, caray. Sáquenme de aquí. Creo que se me murió.
Come on, let's go pick up ours as well. Traveler and Paimon, over here. Are you here for dinner too, Miss Sijwin? And I'm taking the opportunity to prepare Miss Cloran's dinner as well. Huh. You're right. She's actually sitting in the fortress cafeteria. What would you like to eat?
¿De verdad puedo elegir?
Yep, you can. I've already talked to our chef, Mr. Wolsey. It's all on me today, so you can get whatever you'd like.
Entonces comeré el mejor plato que tengan.
Me too! Don't forget Paimon! No problem. Just leave it to me.
Pero eso no depende de la suerte y la comida entera es un manjar. También le sirve unos tíos de extraño sabor, pero bueno, para la salud dice que algo que le gusta mucho, pero usted sabe que tiene un sabor horrible, al menos le sirve para relajarse.
So delicious.
La comida sabe aún mejor cuando es gratis.
Is this how it feels to be freeloaders? Wait a second, we did do plenty of work after all. Feeling full yet? How's the food? Delicious.
Todo está muy rico, gracias. Exceptuando a la baby, quiero decir, todo está fantástico.
I'm so glad to see you all so happy. Oh, see, the expression on your face just now? The muscle here just moved, which suggests that you're feeling quite relaxed at the moment.
Humilde. Sí, parece como si se hubiera muerto, como en esos juegos que se regresa donde te caíste, así pareció.
Sijwin, do you do this to help your patients or to better understand human beings? A bit of both, I suppose. I'm a Melazine, which means I'm very different from human beings. I must know what you're thinking if I want to take good care of you. You're really good at taking care of people. Even though you're so short, you still talk and act like an older sister. Really? You're reminded of an older sister? That's great to hear.
Aww.
Oh, and what did you mean back in Risley's office? When you said that you were protecting Linny and his siblings as well? Oh, that. I just asked His Grace to look out for those children, especially that diver boy. I was getting a bit worried after hearing that something was wrong with the water.
Shiswin entonces no sabe específicamente cuál es el problema del agua.
Thankfully, Colorand is very strong and managed to save him in the nick of time. His Grace also sealed the pipes after Colorand left, to make sure that Linny wouldn't impulsively chase after his brother. Although the path was blocked, we still stationed some guards there to stop anyone from approaching. They were instructed to only open the door once Miss Colorand had returned. Oh, and I was keeping an eye on Mr. Linny as well. We had to press him, but we couldn't allow him to be in any real danger. You were all super considerate and really thought everything through.
Huh.
It's just what we do down here at the fortress. At least this has been His Grace's style for as long as he's been the leader. Oh, I really wish Monsieur Nervula would come down here more often too. I feel like he'd like it here, with all the darkness and chaos.
¿Qué? No creo que sea el tipo de personas que les gusten las cosas oscuras y con mucho caos. Es muy sensible. Entiendo eso último, Nebulita, es más de trabajar en una oficina.
Get a good night's rest, you two. You both worked very hard.
¡Sáquenme de aquí! Sí. Déjame revivirlo.